Duke Loves Wrestling presents.
Look at what we have here, folks.
The Rundown.
The cream of the crop, and there is no one that does it better than
The Duke.
Did you miss me? Of course you did. The man of the hour, man. It's the power too sweet to be sour. Your favorite pro wrestling analyst, Duke Loves Wrestling, is back with the Rundown. That's right, folks. We have a jammed-packed, serious podcast for you this evening. You fans have been asking for it, and guess what? Your buddy Duke delivers. We have the exclusive interview with Adrian Gomez, the owner and lead booker for Middle Kingdom Wrestling China. He is going to join us in a few moments to discuss the controversy surrounding the WWE China Tryouts. That's when they had a bunch of folks come out and try out. There's been some speculation about it being a fix or what have you. We got in contact with our man Adrian out of Middle Kingdom Wrestling. He is going to set the record straight once and for all regarding what actually took place during those tryouts. Can't wait for that. We'll do that, then we'll transition into the WWE recap before we wrap things up. But before any of that, special shout out to our favorite producer, our man, the Boston bad boy, Iron Mike Pelosi. He's back helping us out again here, folks. Special shout out to our friends over at Remember to Hit Record, Lavelle, Old Man Wade, and Miss Lady. Hey, Miss Lady, that's right. Just want to give a special shout out to them out there. They've been supporting us. They do a great job. Google, Remember to Hit Record. Please check those folks out. They're fantastic. Before we jump into the interview with Adrian, it's time for my not so random thoughts. The Will Ospreay, Big Van Vader situation has finally come to a head, folks. And let me tell you something. This is amazing, okay? As you know, Ospreay had that, what he wanted to pass off as a match with Ricochet with New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was what it was. I mean, it was a what I like to call a fantastic display of athleticism, but pro wrestling match, not so much. Anyway, Ospreay has been talking a lot of trash online because he took exception that the legendary Big Van Vader pointed out that these guys needed to sell more. Forget about the fact that everyone has been saying the same thing who has experience in the wrestling industry, but Ospreay decided that just like his other buddy Ricochet, he wanted to take exception to Vader. Well, Vader's not going to take any crap off of a young, wet behind the ears guy still trying to make it in Will Ospreay. So Vader basically told him to mind his manners. This has been going on for weeks online, folks. Well, finally we're getting to the point where these two guys are going to settle it in the ring. Okay? I can't believe that this is finally coming true. For all of you that have been listening all this time, we have been begging for these guys to get in the ring once and for all, figure out all of their differences and settle it. So it's going to be Will Ospreay taking on Big Van Vader. It's going to be happening in the UK, surprisingly. I can't believe that Vader is actually going over to the UK to wrestle. I mean, he's basically going to be on Will Ospreay's turf. So just the fact that he is even willing to go that far to settle this score tells you everything about how serious Vader is about all of this. Okay? Folks, it is going to be a slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say. I can't wait to see it. Hey, I hope Will Ospreay has insurance. I'm really concerned about his safety there because, listen, Vader can do a lot of damage, man. He does not mess around, okay? Vader is a tough son of a gun. So for a guy like Ospreay to keep playing games the way he has online, talking trash and getting upset when Vader is just offering constructive criticism to the young man, hey, Now you're going to have to answer to all of that, Ospreay. And look, I'm glad that you both are in a position where you get to make a payday off of this. That's what we like to see. You know, the fans want to see our stars find a way to give us some entertainment and settle the differences in the ring as opposed to outside of the ring where, you know, you could probably get in trouble for beating the hell out of each other outside the ring. And you might as well just get paid and do it where it's sanctioned. So expect Vader to beat the heck out of Will Ospreay and teach that young man some manners, teach him a lesson because that's what he deserves. But I can't wait to see it. In the coming weeks, we'll provide you with more information about specifically when this is going down and how you can catch the match. I know I'm going to be watching it. There's been a lot of media attention on this situation as well, which is just fantastic. I believe it's Revolution Pro. Rev Pro out of the UK at their Uprising card, which is Friday, August 12th. That's going to be at the York Hall, Bethnal Green. That is the tentative date for this. Okay, that's August 12th is a long way from now, though, so anything could happen between now and then. But thus far, tentatively, that's when it's going to be. As I stated, there'll be more information to come. But that's going to be a knockdown, drag-out battle. And Ospreay, seriously, buddy, you pack a lunch because you're going to have a long night. You better believe that. TNA Impact, they had their weekly Impact Wrestling television show on Pop TV. It was a pretty good show. I have to say this week I was impressed. Very happy to see Knockouts champion Sienna, who I just think is, seriously, she's one of the better wrestlers really on the TNA roster. I think she's the best overall. No disrespect to Gail Kim or anybody like that, but there's just something about the overall way that Sienna works. I just got a lot of time for it. She is not the largest person in the world, but she works that way. I mean, literally, the woman works like she's as big as Andre the Giant, yet she's really not big at all. I mean, is she bigger than some of the other women on the roster? Yeah, she's taller and she's definitely a little more muscular, but she's not very big, but she works big. Everything that she does in that ring matters. And because of that, it looks that much more devastating. It looks like she's really hurting her opponents, which is exactly what it should look like because she's a heel. Everybody could learn from watching Sienna work. Seriously, okay? I would put her on the level of a Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is just, you know, she's one of my favorites. Top 3 favorites in the world. And I would say that Sienna's right up there as far as the quality of her work. It just looks crisp. It looks solid. It looks believable. It's a treat. She took on Gail Kim, and she ended up winning the match, successfully defending her title. So great job there, Sienna. Marty Bell and Jade, they came out and interfered in the match. Allie was, you know, she introduced the champion Sienna as she was walking down to the ramp. Allie, keep your shoes on. Every week you're taking off your shoes. It's like either wear shoes that can stay on your feet or I don't know, but I don't really get it. Outside of that, though, just fun, playful stuff. The Knockouts continue to be the best thing going in Impact Wrestling. Eli Drake, who is currently the King of the Mountain champion in Impact Wrestling, if this guy was as good wrestling as he was on the mic, he would be a superstar. Okay, Eli Drake, you really need to work on your in-ring quality there because it's lacking. But I tell you, man, you are entertaining as anything. I really enjoy watching you do your thing when you're not wrestling. When you're wrestling, I can just turn the channel. I'm not really interested. But improve on your wrestling. Keep it up on the mic, though. The whole Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy feud that continues to wage on in Impact Wrestling is interesting. Hardy with his Brother Nero nonsense. It's so bad it's good. And, you know, everyone is saying it. Brother Nero, Sister Nero. Sasha Banks called Bailey Sister Nero on Twitter, making fun of Matt Hardy. It's so bad it's good. And at this point, it's just like, whatever, man. These are two brothers who have been through wars all over the world wrestling. entertaining the fans, and they look like they're having a lot of fun having this feud with one another. Okay, I give up. Go ahead, guys, do your thing. I don't mind it, whatever. It's better than a lot of the other garbage that we see out there that's trying to pass off as pro wrestling, so I'll let it be what it is. And Bobby Lashley and what's the other knucklehead's name there? EC3, and, you guys can learn a lot from everyone else that I just mentioned there. Lashley, you're big, you're strong, your in-ring work is actually pretty good, but you're terrible on the mic. I mean, when Bobby Lashley speaks on the mic, it's just fascinating to see a guy who is that big and imposing and who can wrestle. I mean, he has a wrestling background, collegiate wrestling background. For him to just be so awful on the mic, there's absolutely nothing believable about Bobby Lashley once he opens his mouth. He needs a manager. Simple as that. He needs another mouthpiece to talk for him. He could be pushed similar to the way Brock Lesnar is pushed in the WWE. Just give him a good mouthpiece. Because the guy is just, he's awful. He's awful when he starts talking. But that's another story altogether. Overall, I give Impact Wrestling a C, solid C. It was a pretty good show. So, hey, keep it up, guys. You have something to build on. So please, don't take a step back next week. Okay. Moving on. We have the Cruiserweight Classic that the WWE is putting on. Now, I know that this is technically WWE information, but mind you, folks, they have gathered talent from all over the world to compete in this tournament to crown once and for all the number one cruiserweight in the world. Okay, so these are guys who are not under WWE contract technically. They've been invited to perform just in this tournament, and then we see what will happen. I'm not going to give out any spoilers, but Ho Ho Lun did a great job. Ho Ho Lun, who's from Middle Kingdom Wrestling China, he was fantastic. As was Brian Kendrick and Zack Sabre Jr. and a lot of other guys there. Just the Cruiserweight Classic is awesome. And on the WWE Network, in a couple of weeks, they're going to show the entire thing on a week-to-week basis. And folks, you really got to tune in because this is going to be some of the best wrestling that you're going to see on the planet. Seriously, you got to check it out. Okay? And that does it for my not-so-random facts of the week. Not-so-random thoughts, I should say, of the week. We're going to take a quick time out, and then we're going to get right into my interview, my exclusive interview with Adrian Gomez from Middle Kingdom Wrestling. But before we get to any of that, folks, if you are an experienced professional wrestler or if you are a pro wrestling promoter, you got to check out www.bookprowrestlers.com. Okay? Steve Stasiak has partnered up with the Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer Leilani Kai to offer a service that is much needed in the sport of professional wrestling. Okay? They represent wrestlers such as Road Warrior Animal, Tony Atlas, Bob Backlund, the Barbarian, Cowboy Ron Bass, you name it, they have it. They will help book these wrestlers for various events and shows and what have you, whether we're talking autograph signings. Some of these guys are still wrestling, so, if you need them to come to your promotion and put on a show, that's what they're there for, folks. So please, if you're looking for quality, dependable wrestling talent, check out www.bookprowrestlers.com. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a lot of controversy going on in the world of professional wrestling. Specifically, over in China, we had the WWE. They recently held a tryout session out in China. They invited athletes from all over the country to come down and take part in the session where you had folks from WWE check them out and see if there was anyone who was good enough to offer a contract to actually be part of World Wrestling Entertainment. I mean, this is unprecedented, folks. This is something that to the best of my understanding, it's not something that they've done in China previously. So this was some groundbreaking stuff. Unfortunately, there's been some speculation that the WWE stacked the deck. They did end up offering a contract to someone, but there were some folks who were making some grumblings about the fact that WWE invited a bunch of people who were not experienced in pro wrestling, and therefore they made the eventual winner look that much better, as if this person had a heads up on what was going on, and they were always intended to win the contract. Now, folks, you know Duke loves wrestling, and I don't play around. I like to get down to the bottom of what's going on here, okay? So I contacted some of my folks from around the world, and I was able to land this exclusive interview with the man himself, Adrian Gomez from Middle Kingdom Wrestling China. Adrian was there. He was a special invited guest by the WWE. He can give us once and for all some kind of inside information on what went down there. So without any further ado, I want to say, Adrian Gomez, welcome to the Rundown Podcast. How are you, brother?
Good, Duke. How are you doing?
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. I'm glad that we were able to catch up with you. You know, we have a lot of great questions here. You are going to have an open forum here to once and for all let us know what the heck happened at that WWE tryout. So first and foremost, how did you find out about the tryout?
The tryout, the news of the tryout came shortly after Middle Kingdom Wrestling roster member Ho Ho Lun was selected to participate in the Cruiserweight Classic Series. Shortly after that, maybe about a week or two after, there's news that popped up on WWE's official Weibo channel, and they were advertising a tryout that said that anybody in China who meets the requirement of being, I think it was about 190 centimeters, had to be 100. So I think it's like maybe 6'1" or 2, maybe.
Okay. Not too tall in wrestling standards. That's about a Shawn Michaels size there.
Sure, but also that, I mean, there aren't too many Chinese that are, over 190.
Good point.
Right. So they definitely had a very specific kind of person that they were looking for. Anyway, they made it public, and they rounded up a bunch of. They got a lot of applications from all over China. People who want to be WWE superstars, and some of them seldom with experience, and most of them not with experience. There was a lot of buzz as they made their announcement that they'd be coming to Shanghai for a 3-day tryout.
Wow. So how well attended was this 3-day tryout, Adrian?
There was about 30 or so made the cut.
Interesting. So listen, you are the promoter. You are the head of Middle Kingdom Wrestling China.
Right.
You were there as an invited guest for these tryouts.
Middle Kingdom Wrestling was the only promotion in China that was invited as a special guest to attend the WWE tryout.
Wow. So that's huge. So you are definitely the right person to speak to about this issue. So let's once and for all put it on the table, Adrian.
Sure.
Was this a fix? Was this set up by the WWE to essentially promote who they really wanted, as opposed to it being a true tryout where whoever the best was going to get the opportunity?
Well, if you look at the article that was posted on WrestleZone by Stuart Wiggin, he works with us as he plays the character role of Royal Stu.
I can't stand that Royal Stu, that wanker. I can't stand him.
He did a little bit of investigative journalism there, and he uncovered some information that definitely, when presented in front of you, maybe could lead you to believe that the stack, that the decks were stacked maybe in favor of who eventually won. Having said that, though, although it is to be expected that perhaps that the only pro wrestler in the in the WWE tryout, the only experienced pro wrestler did eventually win, but I do think that WWE was also genuinely interested in the other 30 participants. I think if the other guys, even though they didn't come from pro wrestling backgrounds, they're bodybuilders, models, actors, if they would have been able to do a good job, as good as the only pro wrestler, Wang Bing, who eventually won the contract. If they were able to do as good as him or better, I think that they also had an equal chance to win that, eventually win that 1 year WWE contract.
So from your perspective as somebody who is really at the forefront of professional wrestling in China, which is, let's face it, folks, China is still trying to develop their identity in pro wrestling, and Middle Kingdom Wrestling is really one of the strongest promotions, and they're at the forefront. They're cutting edge. They're doing a lot of great promotion, a lot of buzz all over the world. Based on your experience and who you are, straight up, do you feel that the WWE fixed that situation?
I would say not. I would say not. Now, a lot of people could say that again because that maybe the argument is this, that WWE had already chosen their winner before they even got to the tryout, right? That was what was presented in Stuart Wiggins' article on this, and the evidence did seem, again, when you look at it at face value, it seems it could be so. But I really do think that, yes, they had a soft spot for Wang Bing before they even got there. They were familiar with his work. WWE has there's words that the promotion that Wang Bing originally worked for, which is called IGF from Japan. There's word that WWE and IGF did have some kind of communication before the tryout. But I do think that if somebody else could cut it, from the 30 participants, that they could have also have the ability to win the contract over Wang Bing. Yes, they had certain expectations for Wang Bing because he has a professional wrestling background, which is something that none of the other guys did, and girls.
Interesting. So Wang Bing, who was the eventual winner, he was the only one at the tryout who was experienced in pro wrestling. Is that what we're saying here?
Yes, that is true.
Okay. But how experienced are the Chinese stars in pro wrestling anyway?
Well, I mean, are you saying how experienced is Wang Bing anyway? Well,
no, I'm saying just in terms of the pro wrestling scene in China, sure. It's not something that you hear about too often. So just as a country that is trying to cultivate pro wrestling, it's still pretty new, from what I gather. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is pretty new. It is definitely pretty new. And as far as how many other pro wrestlers are there in China? Well, I think at this moment, there's about, I would say, a couple dozen or 3 dozen maybe. However, unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the tryout for one reason and one reason only. A lot of them don't meet the 190 centimeter standard.
That standard weeded out a lot of folks because, as you said, a lot of people are not even that tall.
Exactly. Now, we do have a pro wrestler who was very interested in attending the tryout. He's one of our younger guys, and he's been learning professional wrestling in China. However, he is not 18. He's just 17. And he's been practicing a lot. But he's the only one who's over 190. But however, he didn't meet the age cutoff, so he couldn't go.
Got it. So there you have it, folks. This is Adrian Gomez from Middle Kingdom Wrestling, China, letting you know once and for all that from his perspective, and here's a guy who was there, He was there. He was an invited guest. He got to see it firsthand. From his perspective, the WWE did not purposely stack the deck in order to make it possible for who they offered the contract to actually win the tryout. This is very interesting here, folks, and you're hearing it right here, live and in color here on the Rundown Podcast with Duke Loves Wrestling. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get back with Adrian, and he's going to give us further information on the Chinese pro wrestling scene and how Middle Kingdom wrestling fits into that. But first, folks, you know, aside from wrestling, Duke loves food. And when it comes to a delicious meal, beautiful ambiance, and an affordable price in the Boston area, Duke loves Tavern Road Restaurant. That's right, Tavern Road. Chef Louis and his team have combined a great mix of globally inspired flavors with locally sourced ingredients, which has afforded Tavern Road the honor of being named one of Boston's best restaurants. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Tavern Road, located at 343 Congress Street in Boston's fantastic Fort Point neighborhood. Visit www.tavernroad.com for more info. Enjoy. Folks, we're back. We're talking with Middle Kingdom Wrestling head booker, owner, extraordinaire, Adrian Gomez. Adrian, where can folks find Middle Kingdom Wrestling online?
Oh, there are several places you can find us. Firstly, you can go to our website, which is www.middlekingdomwrestling.com. You can also follow us on our Twitter, which is at Adrian MKW. That's ADRIAN MKW. You can also find us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Middle Kingdom Wrestling. You can also find us on our Tumblr, which is tumblr.com/Middle Kingdom Wrestling. We also have a Google Plus, so that's google.com/+Middle Kingdom.
Wow.
And please give us a like, give us a subscribe on our official Middle Kingdom Wrestling YouTube channel, where we do have our hit show, in which we are on the currently going towards the end of our second season, MKWTV Chinese Pro Wrestling. Please check us out on our YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe, and please start from the first season all the way to the second season. I think you guys are in for a wild ride, Chinese Pro Wrestling style.
Excellent. Now, that YouTube subscription channel, that's free, correct?
Absolutely, you can subscribe to our YouTube for free. We don't charge for. We don't put our content behind any kind of video on demand service at the moment. We film our shows so fans can see them free all over the world. We've opened Middle Kingdom Wrestling just last summer. It's less than a year old, and we already have over 620 subscribers on our official YouTube channel. And that's not counting our Chinese fans, which unfortunately cannot visit YouTube in China. However, we do have our own YouTube, I guess you could say, imitation called Yoku, which we also have several fans, and our videos get over 10,000 views. We're really excited about how much Middle Kingdom Wrestling's been growing. But it's all thanks not just to pro wrestling in China. People are interested in pro wrestling in China in general, but it's thanks to our guys like the Selfie King, Lembai, Big Dolly Sam, Ash Silva, Candy Brother, and of course our Middle Kingdom Wrestling champion, Dalton Bragg. So yeah, we have really great guys, including and we also, I forgot to mention, and I shouldn't forget to mention, but of course the father of Chinese pro wrestling, I would say, is the Slam, and he's a big part of our show too. He's been trying to get pro wrestling started way before I did, since 2008. So good to team up with him.
And that, it's interesting that you bring that up. Since 2008, the Flame has really been pushing the concept of bringing pro wrestling to China in a permanent form, because I know that other folks throughout the years, going way back, have tried to stage shows, but they haven't lasted very long. There haven't been many tours of other companies, especially American companies, in China. You can really count on two hands how many times it's happened in the past 50 years, unfortunately.
Right.
So it's very interesting that you have this movement going on, and Middle Kingdom Wrestling is right in the middle of it. Adrian, when folks think of pro wrestling, we think of it in terms of different regions of the world. So we have the British style of pro wrestling, where it's very mat-based, very technical.
Right.
We have the Japanese style of pro wrestling, which is very fast-paced, and there's a lot of moves where it's exciting and flashy and what have you. And then we have the United States style of pro wrestling, which is heavily steeped in storytelling.
Right.
How do you describe Chinese pro wrestling for a fan that is not as familiar with what's going on there?
Well, it's definitely a good question, and I would say first that Chinese pro wrestling is not been it's very new, right? And it's not something that's been in China for a long time. So in a way, it's really difficult in a way to immediately say that this is Chinese style pro wrestling. However, as time has gone by, a lot of our Chinese pro wrestlers are finding actually they excel in being able to mimic some kind of the martial arts style that's traditional to China's 5,000-year history, and they kind of incorporate that kind of style of traditional like kung fu with a mixture of traditional pro wrestling moves. So what you'll see is kind of like what you see in like a Chinese kung fu movie, but actually they also incorporate the big slams and the clotheslines along with those really acrobatic kicks and interesting maneuvers.
That's pretty cool. And the appetite for American style, WWE style pro wrestling is pretty strong in China, correct?
Yes, definitely. There is a strong pro wrestling fan base in China. It's found obviously online. There are websites and several channels on the internet dedicated to the WWE, with videos that get hundreds and thousands and perhaps millions of views within hours. So yes, there is a huge appetite for pro wrestling from especially the WWE style, which people at the moment especially with the penetration that WWE has put in the Chinese market recently, you're starting to witness kind of like a WWE fever going on in China, and that's something that Middle Kingdom Wrestling is trying to take advantage of.
Of course, and it's a tremendous honor that of all of the other startups going on in China right now, pro wrestling startups, Middle Kingdom Wrestling is one company that the WWE has reached out to form a relationship. I mean, the fact that you were invited to that tryout, the fact that you have Ho Ho Lun, who is in the Global Cruiserweight Series, and without putting out any spoilers there, folks, he's been doing a great job so far. They just started taping last week. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but Ho Ho Lun has been turning some heads, folks. Okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's definitely brought a lot of attention to Middle Kingdom Wrestling. If you look at Ho Ho Lun and you look for him on Google or YouTube, the first thing you see when you look at Ho Ho Lun is his relationship, his matches with Middle Kingdom Wrestling. In fact, Middle Kingdom Wrestling's first ever match featured Ho Ho Lun. So we're actually very honored by the fact that he's one of our prominent roster members.
That's amazing. And that's a compliment to whatever you and your organization have going on over there. Now, you have a super card coming up in a few months.
That's right. We do have a super card coming up in a few months. This will actually Middle Kingdom Wrestling, our tour. We're going to be doing a Thailand tour, actually. we're going to Thailand. We're bringing all of our Chinese pro wrestlers, like the Slam, Jason Wong, Selfie King, Len Bai, Black Mamba. We're going to bring all of our foreign pro wrestlers like Big Dolly Sam, Ash Silva, and Dalton Bragg, our MKW champion. And we're all going to take them over to Thailand, to Pattaya City. Some say Pattaya City is a heaven on earth, maybe for other reasons. But we're trying to bring also pro wrestling to Pattaya. So we're gonna try to mix a little bit of the people who go there and also to the local Thai people, bring them the kind of pro wrestling action that only Middle Kingdom Wrestling can bring. And also we are also teaming up with ABC Thailand, which is a promotion based in France, and they have a branch in Thailand, so they'll be helping us out too. And of course, there's a big Thai promotion who's supporting us very much. They're called KWF, and we'll be putting together this super card featuring almost 40 wrestlers on the card, and we're very excited about that.
Now, what's the date on the big super card? Because listen, Duke loves wrestling, and folks are listening to the rundown all over the world, different parts of Africa, different parts of the UK, all over Asia. Let us know do you have a set date for when that supercard is going to be in Thailand?
Yeah, we got it. It's going to be on November 18th and 19th. It's so big. We got 40 wrestlers. We got to have 2 nights of it.
And how can folks get further information on this supercard in case they want to go check it out?
Well, they can check it out on our website. They can also check it out on our official Facebook page, where we'll be posting information, and of course all of our general social media. So
absolutely.
If anybody's interested in not even, of course, I know for a lot of people it's not feasible to go to Thailand, but we will be posting the results as they go, and of course we'll be using these 2 shows to record our 3rd season of MKW TV Chinese Pro Wrestling. So please look forward to that, and we will be coming back to China for a huge event. During the WrestleMania weekend during the WrestleMania, would it be 34, right? WrestleMania 34, the next WrestleMania.
I believe so. So. Well, that's good stuff there. That there's so much going on with Middle Kingdom Wrestling and Chinese wrestling in general. I think it's wise that you're partnering up with other federations over in that part of the world. Thai Federation that's connected to the French Federation. This is good. This is good. This is how you're going to continue to allow your talent to gain experience wrestling other wrestlers from different parts of the world, and you bring in those other wrestlers from different parts of the world to MKW to gain some kind of experience with Chinese wrestling. So one hand washes the other. It works out for everybody.
Yeah, that's pro wrestling. It's a brotherhood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To wrap things up for you, Adrian, this is your moment now. Plug whatever you want. Please reiterate those how fans can get in touch with you all over the internet and what have you. Go.
Sure. Thank you so much, Duke. I'm happy to be on Duke Loves Wrestling's The Rundown. I listen to it every week. I want to say, if you didn't catch our social media, just please go to MiddleKingdomWrestling.com. We do have a Twitter. If you can find us on hashtag Chinese Pro Wrestling, hashtag MKW, or hashtag AdrianMKW. Follow us on our Facebook. Give us a like. Facebook.com/MiddleKingdomWrestling. We also have a Tumblr, a Google+. I think if you type in Chinese Pro Wrestling or Middle Kingdom Wrestling on Google or any other search engine, you'll find all of our social media information right at the top. And please check out MKW TV Chinese Pro Wrestling. This is our premiere show that we have. And I'm happy to announce that episode 4 of MKW TV Chinese Pro Wrestling will be going up live in a few hours. This episode is going to feature the international 6-man tag team war between Big Dolly Sam, Andrew Tong, and Black Mamba versus the team of Ash Silva, Jason Wong, and the Eurasian Dragon. So in this match, we're going to have wrestlers from Singapore, from China, from America, from UK, all in one match. This is the kind of action that you can only see with Middle Kingdom Wrestling. So please look forward to our latest episode of MKW TV Chinese Pro Wrestling. And as far as our Thai show information and our future China event, which will be during the WrestleMania weekend next year. And by the way, I'll give you an exclusive. This event that we're going to do in China will be a fundraiser, which will be donating 100% of our profits that we make from ticket sales to a charity in Dongguan, China. We're very happy to be partnering up with this charity, and we hope to be able to not just bring pro wrestling action to people, but also be able to bring help to people, those most in need in the Chinese countryside. So
wow.
Check us out on MiddleKingdomWrestling.com, and please cheer on Ho Ho Loon in the Global Cruiserweight Classic tournament. He's a great guy, and we really appreciate the work that all the work he's given us, and the fact that he's one of our guys.
Well, you heard it there, folks. I mean, this is exciting news coming out of Middle Kingdom Wrestling China. Please jump online and check them out, because this is really one of the hottest promotions going on in the world right now. You know, I get the exclusives, folks. You've asked Duke Loves Wrestling to get exclusive information. You've made it clear that although you want to hear about wrestling happening in the United States, you also want to hear about what's going on outside of our borders. So we brought you this huge exclusive with Adrian Gomez from Middle Kingdom Wrestling. How exciting is that? We're going to transition into the Raw recap. But first, when you talk about exciting, you know you're talking about Barnyard Cheese. That's right. Barnyard Cheese is my favorite outpost for real food, artisanal cheeses, cured meats, and delicious award-winning sandwiches. Drop by their location at 149 Avenue C in New York City's East Village neighborhood. Check out www.barnyardcheese.com for more info. Enjoy. It's WWE recap time, folks. And what an interesting week it's been in the WWE. First and foremost, as you remember, last week, Roman Reigns, the guy who was the anointed one, who was supposed to take over for John Cena as the top guy in the company, he got in trouble for a WWE wellness policy violation. As we know, the wellness policy is a policy in which if you are caught taking a banned substance, could be, a type of drug like marijuana, could be prescription drugs that you no longer have a prescription for, could be human growth hormone, what have you. But if you're caught taking any of these banned substances, then you will be suspended for a period of time. First offense is a 30-day suspension. And that's what Reigns is dealing with right now, is a 30-day suspension from active competition. We kicked off Raw this week with Seth Rollins coming out to do a standard promo where he says a bunch of stuff, rah, 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 gets everyone hyped up to discuss what's going to happen on tonight's show. Well, Rollins does something that no one saw coming. He actually addressed the Roman Reigns scandal. This was amazing, folks. He points out the fact that Roman Reigns is selfish and that it was terrible that he actually violated the WWE's policy there on banned substances. The whole 9 yards, folks. They did not shy away from this major issue. In fact, they took a big microscope and they examined it for the entire WWE universe and beyond to see. This was a great idea by WWE. I really respect them for this move. You cannot deny the fact that it happened. So instead of what they've done in the past, which is essentially ignore it, no, they're going to make this part of the storyline. And they're going to let people know that they're serious about their wellness policy because they do care about the safety and well-being of their talent. I'll take it. Fine. It was great. And it was a great way to start the show. So kudos to Seth Rollins for that. They then transition into Dean Ambrose and Stephanie McMahon having the standard, Stephanie is the boss and Dean Ambrose is a defiant champion, so she's going to make his life a living hell. Whatever. I got no problems with that, although I can't stand that Dean Ambrose. I can't stand that he's champion. And, of course, as always, he was incoherent when he got on the mic and he was talking this week, folks. This is what this guy does. You never understand a word he's saying, okay? Never understand a word he's saying. Nonetheless, they set up a match for later on in the show where it would be WWE Champion Dean Ambrose battling AJ Styles. This was after John Cena and AJ Styles came out and said that they should be the ones to replace Roman Reigns, or maybe we should just make it a fatal five-way match or whatever for the next pay-per-view coming up. Because currently the main event for the pay-per-view is going to be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, triple threat match. Shield guys in a triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which is interesting considering that Roman Reigns is suspended. So 3 days after he comes back from suspension, he's going to be in that pay-per-view match. We'll see what happens there, but interesting way to start off Raw nonetheless. Sasha Banks and Paige took on WWE Women's Champion Charlotte and her sidekick Dana Brooke. Listen, once again, Dana Brooke, I appreciate her. I think she's been doing a stellar job, all things considered. She doesn't flip to the ring anymore. As you folks know, I can't stand it when she does that. Dana, keep up the great work. Charlotte, she's plateaued, okay? She's not doing anything wrong. It's just that the level of talent that she is going up against in the ring really needs to be at a higher level. We've beaten to death that feud that she had with Natty. I'm glad that that's finally over. And finally, we're starting to get into what the fans have been wanting all along, which is Charlotte versus Sasha Banks. We want Sasha. So this match was great. Sasha ends up winning the match with the Banks statement. Dana Brooke took it. Dana did some great bumping out there. Very proud of her. Keep it up. Sasha, it really pains me because the crowd was dead all night, but they really haven't been giving Sasha the kind of pop that she really deserves. And it's because WWE has really slowed down her momentum, which is just terrible. Okay? You're really making it difficult for this young lady to get back to where she was. She's going to get there because she's that damn good. But boy, WWE has a habit of shooting themselves in the foot at times, and it's ridiculous. Sasha Banks deserves better than that, and so does Charlotte, to be honest with you. I think it's time for Charlotte to take a break from being champion. She's been running pretty hard. She could use the rest. And Sasha Banks, it's time for her to ascend to the level that we all know that she deserves to be at, which is champion. And she's perfect. She's prime and ready to go for that. She was on the cover of one of the Muscle magazines, and proud of her for that as well. Hey, listen, Sasha Banks is the real deal, man. Titus O'Neil and Rusev had a knockdown, drag-out, slobber knocker of a match. It turned out to be one of the better matches of the night, and it was fantastic, surprisingly. But it was fun to see. Two big, burly guys beating the hell out of each other. Of course, Lana, she looked excellent, as she always does. Pretty cool match there. Seth Rollins and John Cena, this was a pay-per-view level match. These two guys who were injured for the majority of last year, they did a very good job against each other. And Cena's still shaking off that ring rust. Seth Rollins, he's back in perfect form. Can't go wrong there. Rollins ends up winning the match. That was great. So, hey, kudos to him. Enzo Amore and Big Cass, they beat up a couple of jalopies, as my man Pastor Kevin would say. Carlos Hershey and Mitch Walden. Whatever. Becky Lynch attacked Natty. So it was supposed to be a match between Becky Lynch and Summer Rae with Natty on the mic. But Becky just came right out, went straight for Natty, and started beating on her to get some revenge. Which, okay, I understand that those two are going to have a feud, and I like the new Natty, who is a heel. That's cool. But hey, Summer Rae deserved better than that. I mean, Summer Rae is a solid talent, and anytime she wrestles, it's always a good time to see. So it was unfortunate we didn't get a chance to see her do her thing on Raw. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens appeared on Chris Jericho's highlight reel. It was just pure comedy. Whatever. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, they can't stand each other. They're in this feud that's lasted for over a decade, which is cool. They're going to continue to put out great matches with each other. Keep them together because when the brand split happens, we know that those two guys are going to go in different directions, but they're both going to be strong. And having Jericho out there to instigate was not a bad move at all. Kane defeated the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz, by countout. Miz really wasn't getting much of a reaction out there, which is crazy. He's been off of TV for about a month now because he's been filming the latest installment of the Marine movie, WWE film. He didn't get the reaction that you would expect him to get. Maurice, she looked great out there. But I think it is time for the Intercontinental Championship to move on to someone else. I wouldn't do it before the brand split, though. Let's hold off on that until then. But it should either be Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn, in my view. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Cesaro and Apollo Crews, they defeated Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. This was a funny match. The crowd was completely dead for it, but actually it was pretty good. Apollo Crews continues to improve out there. Doesn't hurt that he's getting the rub from guys like Cesaro, Sheamus, and Alberto Del Rio. Sheamus is the one who ended up taking the loss, and it's because Del Rio slapped him in the face and then gave him the enziguri, kicked him right in the back of the head and then left. So Del Rio turned on his partner. You can expect to finally see what we've been begging for weeks now, which is Alberto Del Rio to be treated as the baby face that he is. He is not a heel. The fans like Del Rio. They want to cheer this guy. So the fact that you keep putting him in a position where you're trying to make him get booze is just ridiculous. Cut it out. The Wyatt family, they confronted the WWE Tag Team Champions, The New Day. Xavier Woods acting as if the Wyatt family have some kind of hold on him. Maybe he's afraid of them. Who knows what. I don't like this storyline. I don't know where it's going, but I don't like it. It looks like they're going to split up the New Day, and if you do that, I'm going to be very upset with it. Final match of the night was Dean Ambrose defeating AJ Styles because John Cena interfered in the match. John Cena. Great back and forth match. Surprisingly, Dean Ambrose, this is probably the best match of his career because he was in there with, pound for pound, the best wrestler in the world, neck and neck with Shinsuke Nakamura, and I'm talking about AJ Styles. AJ made Dean Ambrose look good, and Ambrose actually wrestled. Instead of taking his opponent and bringing them down to his level, Ambrose allowed AJ to bring him up to AJ's level. So, good job there. Best match I've ever seen Dean Ambrose wrestle. AJ Styles, what can you say about him? He's the man. So it was a pretty good Raw. Terrible, terrible crowd. They were dead all night, but it was a pretty good Raw. The thing going on, folks, with this, going back to Roman Reigns, this wellness policy issue, it really throws an interesting monkey wrench in the mix for the WWE because they had to make a serious example out of Reigns, who was supposed to be the anointed one. The question is, what happens next when you bring him back? Do you continue to try to force feed him down the throats of the fans as a babyface, or do you allow who he naturally is to come out? Reigns is a heel. The fans want to boo him, and they want to feel comfortable booing him. Will the WWE allow this to happen? I sure hope so, because it would be fantastic if they did. Okay? Let's stop forcing the fans to do things the way you want them to do it, and let's listen to the fans for a change, WWE. That would be very nice if you did that. Seriously. Okay? Seriously. One other interesting thing of note here, Xavier Woods lost a Street Fighter V video game tournament to none other than the cleaner himself from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Mr. Kenny Omega. Folks, go to YouTube and type in Xavier Woods versus Kenny Omega, and you will see it's about a half hour long, but you won't be able to take your eyes off of it. It's just awesome. Both of these guys are big-time video game nerds. As you know, Xavier Woods has Up, Up, Down, Down, which is his own video game channel on YouTube. He is a very popular gamer. He's serious. It's not a joke. He has assisted in ushering in this era of wrestlers focusing more on video games and playing video games and using that as a bonding experience and a way to relax after the matches, as opposed to going out and getting drunk and high and doing stupid stuff. So kudos to Xavier Woods. Seriously, Xavier Woods, PhD, by the way. Very proud of him, and I appreciate all that he does just as a person. This guy, I hope from a historical standpoint, he gets the credit that he deserves with this whole video game thing that he's doing. Because the other thing is, he brings a lot of wrestlers from other promotions together with video games, okay? And on the flip side, Kenny Omega, who's a huge video game nerd, the fact that he was able to beat Xavier Woods in this tournament, it was a best-of-5 tournament, and Omega won, that's just great. Kudos to you, Cleaner. One day, let's see these guys in a match against each other. That would be even better. Okay, I would love to see that. Yes, sir. WWE Cruiserweight Classic. They started taping. We have Mauro Ranallo and Daniel Bryan. They're going to be the commentators for it, and they're treating this like a sport. Okay, they're treating this very similar to what you would see at an MMA competition or what have you. It's been some good stuff, folks. I know officially it's going to come out in July. You can go to WWE's YouTube channel and type in Cruiserweight Classic, and they will show you the 15-minute video that they debuted on Facebook, where they introduce you to each of the competitors who are going to be competing from all over the world in the Cruiserweight Classic. It's a must-watch. You got to go check it out, folks. It's worth it just to see all these talents who are going to be battling it out to see who will be the number one cruiserweight in the world. That's right. And that does it there for the WWE recap, folks. We're going to be right back to wrap things up. Folks, you know I'm always telling you, you got to check out Remember to Hit Record. That's www.remembertohitrecord.podbean.com. Old Man Wade, Lavelle, and Miss Lady, hey lady, they are just out of this world, ridiculous. They talk about anything and everything under the sun. I mean, this week they were talking about Tropic Thunder, and they were talking about animal-related things and what's going on just in the world. It's similar to sitting in a barbershop or sitting at your family's cookout, where it's a no-holds-barred, everything goes, folks just talking about stuff, laughing, having a good time. You're going to agree. You're going to disagree. You're going to want to fight. You're going to want to hug. The whole 9 yards. But please, check them out. They are fantastic. They support Duke Loves Wrestling. They listen to the rundown, so I'm giving them a shout out there. www.remembertohitrecord.podbean.com. Tell them Duke sent you. That's right. That does it for this week's edition, folks. As always, you know we appreciate you, and you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Medium.com, YouTube, Blogger, you name it, we got it. Just type in Duke Loves Wrestling. That's right, Duke Loves Wrestling. We continue to grow. We have wrestlers from all over, from every single time period that's still around, sharing our information. So I want to give some love out there to Big Van Vader, Sienna, Teddy Long, Teddy Play Along, that's right, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You name it, they're all sharing Duke Loves Wrestling. They're sharing the Rundown podcast. Truly appreciate them doing that. You can send me messages. You can let me know what you love about the show, what you don't love about the show, and everything else in between. Once again, Twitter, Facebook, Medium, YouTube, Duke Loves Wrestling. All right? Folks, we are here to help others. So please, don't just be kind to yourself, be kind to someone else. Okay? This is Duke Loves Wrestling signing off saying, see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.